Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City of Bettendorf Committee of the Whole meeting. Today is Monday, April 1st, 2024. 35 years ago today, Decker was appointed as the city administrator. How do you feel about that?
It's been a great joke ever since, Your Honor. Very happy to be here, proud to serve.
All right.
Here, here. Are you serious?
It is.
Or is that a joke?
Let's move to our operational items to appear at 8 and 9 tomorrow evening. This will be a public hearing on the first reading of an ordinance that will be presented tonight by Mark Hunt and I assume Taylor Beswick. Awesome. Gentlemen, you have the floor. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Your Honor. This is just a little bit of a housekeeping matter. We had some code that was provided us from the state regarding the floodplain ordinance update. The state did not give us the full code, so we have to add a few more lines back into our code. I'll let Taylor kind of give the details, but it relates to variances for floodplain ordinances.
Thank you, Mark. As you know, the flood ordinance was recently amended and approved by City Council. The DNR gives us that language directly. It's model floodplain language. After it was approved, the FEMA was reviewing that, and there was specific language that was left out regarding variances, which the city has not granted one in over 25 years. It's specific language just notifying anyone that's granted a variance that their flood insurance premiums may be increased per the amount that's being insured. This has been added. Because the maps are going to be effective April 11th, staff is recommending this be in the code by April 11th. So we are recommending waiving the second and third reading to amend this ordinance. And I can take any questions.
Questions? All right, fairly straightforward. That will appear tomorrow night as items 8 and 9. We move to the consent agenda for a resolution approving a site plan at 6021 Valley.
Thanks, Your Honor. Case 24-011-6021 Valley Drive, also known as Lot 8, Fields Development First Edition. The applicant is Greg Fanich, Symmetry Mortgage. It is a site development plan for contractor condos or contractor suites, typically kind of job shops for landscapers, electricians, plumbers that have a work vehicle that they use that as that shop as kind of their base of operations. You're quite familiar with these types of developments.
They're right there on Beartooth Court.
Land use and zoning are in line, so we have an industrial land use as our plan. We have zoned it industrial, and this is an allowed industrial use. We have alignment through our land use plan and our zoning ordinance. And the particular zoning is I-2 in this case. Quick look at the site development plan, just under an acre in site. That did come into play, and I'll get to that in a second. But it's a smaller site, but our industrial lots, because of the nature of industrial businesses, usually have the largest setbacks or buffers on them. So that came into play with the Board of Adjustment case. A 10,300 square foot building, 7 contractor suites or contractor condos. They're actually leased, they're not owned. It's a term of art. They did get a 5-foot variance to build a little closer to the road because the rear of the property is reserved for stormwater detention, and they needed that to be able to make the site work. That was approved on the 14th of March. They've got plenty of parking, outside parking, and inside parking is total 23 spaces, plus the required ADA space. Stormwater is located, stormwater detention is located just off the screen here in this lot of the adjoining subdivision. And the water really kind of comes down both sides of the lot. If you actually look at the lot, there's 2 tree lines that are pretty deep ravines that'll be preserved for the movement of water. Not the tree line, so to speak, but the drainage in those areas will stay there, and then drainage along the back to take the water to the regional detention pond in this area. They have 8 tree factors that they'll have to put in, and they've met those with the plan. An enclosed dumpster located, a little hard to see here, but located kind of in the center spot of the parking area. We won't have sidewalks in the industrial area. That's our status. We don't add those, so there will not be sidewalks to this. And here's your elevations, the 7 units with the garage type doors and the man door, pretty plain Jane development, but probably right for this area. Building height's just 20 feet, so really no different than the other buildings in the area. We had a positive staff report that was included in your documents. Planning and Zoning Commission also had a rule of this on the 21st of February and Board of Adjustment on the 14th of March for that 5-foot variance encroachment to the front yard. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Yes, Frank.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mark, how much traffic do you figure is going to be generated by this? And is it going to be a problem? Because that's such a narrow
Yeah, it
two-lane.
is. Yeah, that's a great question. We looked at that. This isn't really a customer service facing business. This is a kind of park, grab your truck and go out to your customers type of business. So retail traffic, really not gonna happen from a customer perspective. You will have probably a morning time shift where the owners or leases of these suites show up, park their personal vehicle, take their job truck and go to their jobs, and then they're out the day, maybe come back, grab a part here and there. So no traffic added in that area, but that's something we did look at.
Thank you.
Other questions? All right, that will remain on consent if I can entertain a motion to do so.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent J will remain as such for tomorrow evening. Let's move to a preliminary plat of the reserve submitted by Windmiller.
Couple of cases combined here, Your Honor. The reserve is a preliminary plat and final plat. We're bringing both to you at the same time. This is outside of the city's jurisdiction, but we do, per state law, have a review right within 2 miles of our border for an unincorporated area. So we get to make sure that it's at least built to city standard in case it were ever to become part of the city. The applicant is Reed Windmiller. Just to locate you, here's Wells Ferry Road coming up off of Valley Drive. This farm right here is what's in question. That's, again, outside of our city boundary and actually outside of what we plan for city growth in the future, even with our existing comp plan and our draft comp plan. I'll show you that in a second. 15 single-family residential lots here. So future land use, this is the area where we would look to grow to in our upcoming comp plan. And this is, again, outside of that area. We have a preliminary plat, 15 lots, only 12 developable. We got a couple for stormwater detention. The improvements will meet Bettendorf standards and specifications, although they're gonna be on septic, they won't be on sewer because they're not in the city. And point of emphasis for us is Bettendorf Fire is responsible for calls to this area, so we made sure that the fire hydrants are appropriately spaced and placed in this subdivision. And I think I mentioned the septic systems previously. The roads will be private, but they'll be built to our road standard and our road width. In case, again, if we ever do take this area into the city, they'll be built for our subdivision standard. Same with sidewalks. We have a final plat that matches the preliminary plat, which is good. This has already been through the review process of the county, so the county's reviewed both the final plat and the preliminary plat last month, and they're waiting for their final vote. We have to make sure we have a vote before they do that. Again, meets all city requirements, and we're recommending approval. We did have a positive staff report and a planning and zoning commission approval, or recommendation for approval on the 20th. I'd be happy to answer the questions.
Questions? Jerry?
Thank you, Your Honor. So this is outside the city, so we do not provide services of any type, snow removal, refuge collection. We don't do any of that.
We do provide fire service. That's per an agreement that we just approved at our last city council meeting, and that I'm sure the fire chief could provide more information on, but that's been our practice for years. Fire chief here.
Yes, thanks, Mark. It's part of that Scott County Fire District 1 that we've talked about. We are the primary response. So we do look at hydrant placement and distances, turnarounds, things like that. They do meet our code.
So for that fire, if I recall, we get some tax dollars of some type.
Yeah, we get a certain percent,
Yep.
which we discussed last time, and more than happy to give you that information if you'd like.
I'm good with it, thanks.
Mark, did you have any discussions with the developer about possible desire in the future to become part of the city?
It was brought up, but we'd already advanced our plan pretty far at this point, which brought us to this map. And we kind of knew where we wanted to go based on our sewerability,
Right?
the cost of that sewer. And that was pretty clear at this point. So we did not make that overture. I don't think it was in the cards for us as a city. Certainly, as council can revisit that if they want to, but we've been pretty far down the path with both our existing comp plan and our draft comp plan.
Okay. Any further questions based on that, Lisa?
Well, that was gonna be my question. So when they do the streets, are they if we took them later, are these streets gonna be up to our standards?
Yes, they would be. So those would be to our standards and we would, you know,
Everything but the septic.
review them.
Okay,
So they're gonna be built right, yeah. But they'll be
Okay.
on septic because we're not gonna sewer them now.
okay,
But the streets, if they were to become part of the city, would meet our width and depth and all
so
those
we'd
things.
be ready to take it,
They'd be
okay,
built like a Bettendorf city street, although there'll be private roads in the county doesn't own these, they make the homeowner association maintain them.
Your Honor.
Yes, Scott?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just curious, how do they get their garbage removed and like, are they a part of the Scott County recycling program or is?
I'm gonna venture a guess and say they're private haulers, but. I
Yeah, they're all
don't know
private
specifics.
haulers. Those private haulers choose where they take the refuse and the recycling. Right now, we have agreements with them to bring the recycling to the recycling center, and we are the closest landfill. So it's most likely coming to our landfill, but it could be an Illinois-based business, and it might go to East Moline or something in the other side of the river.
Interesting, thank you.
Further questions? All right, let's entertain a motion to.
Frank had a
Oh, I'm sorry, Frank. I knew you did. Go ahead, Frank.
I'm gonna ask for a welfare check over here. Just a question for the fire department.
Yes, sir.
It looks like we only have one road in and one road out. Are we putting ourselves in a position like we had off of 53rd when we had that fire up there? And
Yeah, no, not really. It looks on population density and the trigger point is 30 or more. So as long as they stay under that 30 development, I think you said there were 15, correct?
Yeah,
12?
it'll be 12 units.
Yeah, so it would still meet our code for that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion that consent L remain on tomorrow night's agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We will take up L tomorrow night. Any remaining consent items any particular council member would like to ask a question about or discuss at this time? All right, seeing none, could we please entertain a motion to approve our consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any items to be added by council for tomorrow night? I have none. Greg?
I'd just like to meet with appropriate staff after the meeting about Sophie Foster's property. It butts right up to Bettendorf line. Just wanted to check, they're building 3-story buildings right, very close to our people's property. I just wanted to see if that was, if they snuck that in or if that was approved. It was approved.
Yeah.
Well.
All right, anything else to be added to tomorrow night's agenda? Okay, let's entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, people, good work. Good to see you. Let's start again tomorrow at 7, please.
Hopefully in a good